The reason why I'm making this video today, and it's the fourth time due to interruptions outside of the fact that I was making my point, sadly the last one being that I was almost to the end of what I was saying when I was interrupted, was that I wanted to talk a bit about the current approach to politics that different philosophies have in common. And what I mean by that is that it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal or a conservative or a Tea Party mover or a Green Party or libertarian, whatever, what have you. All of those groups, all those philosophies, all share the same gripe, which is they're frustrated and angry with the other parties because those parties never address the issue. They just make generalizations. And they make sweeping generalizations, including the entire political philosophy of whatever, and having that one generalization represent the entirety of the way that it thinks. As a clearly cut example, look at the Tea Party movement. Any video that you can go on, well, not any video, but a majority of the videos that you can go on to YouTube and see that shows a Tea Party rally, it shows worst case scenario. They've got a bunch of people on there that have no real idea of what it is that they're talking about. These people are motivated, they're worked up about something, but when it actually comes to the actual factual content of their debate points, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're just spouting off talking points or stuff that they read on the newspaper and they thought about, or they heard from their friend at the bar, or whatever. Things that got people motivated. So when people see these videos of these individuals online that are talking out their ass, they say, that's the reason why I hate that party. That's the base. That's the content of that political philosophy. Lowest common denominator: people that have no idea what they're talking about. They're ignorant. They're racist. They're closed-minded. Blah blah blah. You know, and I see this for every political movement, every political philosophy. If you're a conservative, you can find liberals that sound that way. If you're a liberal, you can find conservatives that sound that way. You obviously can find Tea Party people that sound that way. You know, the problem is that those individuals do not represent the entirety of whatever political philosophy it is that you're talking about. Granted, if you see enough videos out there, you're going to think, well, shit, I've seen 100 videos, and in 98 of those videos, there's some white middle-aged, upper middle class guy with a stars and bars patch on his hat talking about Obama needs to go back to Kenya, whatever, whatever that thing is. So obviously that means that the entire party is like that. And I suppose mathematically it is possible to make that argument. However, because America is a diverse and vast resource of thoughts and ideas and types, you cannot take a small percentage and have that be a representation of the overall idea. I know several Tea Party people that are very strong in their connection to the Tea Party. They feel that the philosophy of what the Tea Party represents truly does stand for what they feel. The Tea Party ideal, small business, less government, less spending, all that stuff. Those are great tenets. And then you start getting into the personal prejudices of the larger groups that they stay away from. But it's the general idea of the political philosophy. They believe the tenets of the philosophy. Now, all of these different groups do the same exact thing that they begrudge all the others doing to them, because they have their philosophy, they have their point, they have their belief, and they want to show, hey, look, this is the reason why we are this way, and you can see these groups aren't, and here's why, And it's that generalization, it's that overall sweeping generalization that all these different groups do that shroud the actual content of what their political party is supposed to do. It's not about issues. And this is something that I've said many times, and I've heard all these other groups say the same thing. It's never about issues. It's always about these talking points. It's always about these buzz points. It's always about smear campaigns and this and that and this and that. It never really gets down to the meat and potatoes of the issue. It never talks about, okay, well, we want to talk about big business. Let's talk about how can we work together to do this. And a compromise is something that politics does not allow for, even though that's kind of odd, because the very idea of politics has to do with compromise of the group for the overall whole. So the general notion of what politics is supposed to be has been corrupted so far beyond what politics is supposed to be. It's a little disturbing. Anyway, getting off on a rambling tangent there. The simple point that I'm trying to make here is that you cannot take a generalization as fact for the entire group. You may be able to find 150 people that all sound exactly the same, but when that party has 400,000, let's say, 150 people is a drop in the bucket. Yes, those 150 people are the ones that are constantly getting in front of the camera. Those 150 people are the ones that are marching down the street and getting on the news. Those are the ones that are screaming at the top of their lungs. The smallest, most radical elements are always the loudest. That's been a fact throughout history. When people try to make a change, or when small groups of people try to make a change, they have to make the biggest impact. So they have to make the most noise. But we're talking about the platform of speech. We're talking about people talking. They're not actually making a change. They're just putting out their ideas. And that by itself cannot represent a person's idea. And this is my personal opinion. It can. It does every day, obviously, because I'm making this video. But still, it shouldn't. Let me rephrase. It shouldn't be the sole motivator for your understanding and belief of a different group. You don't believe that the liberals have the right idea about how to make America better? That's cool. But that should be based on the liberal agenda is this, while the conservative movement is that. You know, and then you use those key words that sway opinion. Still, you know, as a conservative, I believe this, and as a liberal, they believe that, and it's a difference in those philosophies that is based on why I'm not them. It should be that alone. The tenets of what you believe, the base of what you believe, should be the reason that you are a part of your group and the reason why you are not a part of theirs. It shouldn't have anything to do with Billy Joe Bob and Mary Sue from Buttlick, Wisconsin came out and saw a newspaper clipping where somebody said somewhere that Obama was a Kenyan, and they get all worked up because they're Americans and the president should be American. That's those two people's opinion. That is not the representation of the philosophy of that political movement. And as confusing and convoluted as this message has been, the point that I'm basically trying to make is that I don't understand, and once again it comes down to me not having a full concept of the way that people think. I just, as much as I try to get perspective and as much as I try to come to a deeper understanding of my fellow human beings, the decisions that they make and the efforts that they make, it just confuse the fuck out of me. You know, people talk about wanting a better world, but they're destroying the world that they insist they want it to be a better place. You know, all these people talking about we need the economy better, we need to be able to take care of our citizens, people need to become self-sufficient, people need to be, you know, not dependent on the system, they have to be dependent on themselves. All these different things, you know, are take away from the basis of trying to make the world a better place. It becomes contrary. It's no longer about actually trying to get good done. It's about my personal thoughts on something that need to be enforced to make everything else better because what I know is good and what everyone else knows is stupid. Anyway, that's the point I wanted to make, was just that watching these videos, watching these political groups go at each other and use the same exact tactics that they bemoan all the other groups for, you know, you cannot make generalizations in terms of the overall philosophy. You can make generalizations about individuals. If you want to get upset, talk about those 10 people that you saw in that video were idiots. But for every moron that you see that you disagree with, there's got to be like 10, 20 people that are not like that. They share the philosophy of that political movement, but not the idealism of the idiots that are on the camera talking. And that's pretty much it. Just that popped into my head, so I thought I'd share it with the camera. Sadly, this was a little bit different than the last one. I was a little bit more eloquent in my last attempt. Damn phone. Alright then, that's it. Talk to y'all later.